Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So we have some good news in today's video as a new bill being released this year would greatly help out some Social Security beneficiaries. So we're going to be going over who those people are and what's being included in this bill. Plus we have some more payments going out today, $1,800 on average. We're going to be going over who is going to be receiving these payments and then of course the rest of the payment schedule for the month ahead in August as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so whenever you go to apply for Social Security benefits, whether that be retirement or disability benefits, there is something called a waiting period before you receive your benefits. And at that point, whenever you receive your payment, whenever you start receiving your payments for the first time, you receive what's called like a lump sum payment. So let's say that if you apply for disability benefits and maybe like August of last year, you wouldn't be receiving your first disability payment in August. You may not receive your first disability payment until, let's say, like March or April of this year. And you wouldn't just be receiving your payments in March or April of this year just for the payments of 2023. You would also be receiving the lump sum from 2022 as well. And unfortunately, this would actually count towards tax purposes, like you're receiving all this money in 2023, even though a lot of the money would have actually been last year for tax purposes in 2022. And so because of that, unfortunately, a lot of people get a surprise tax bill because of the income that they're receiving in 2023, or whenever they start receiving their disability benefits, actually gets treated as the full amount, like they're actually receiving a ton of money, when in reality it was actually last year's money that they should have been receiving, that they're now just finally receiving in the retroactive lump sum payment. So fortunately, there is a bill that is being released this year. Hopefully they can pass it, which would solve this issue and make it so people aren't going to be owing a ton of unexpected taxes from the IRS. So according to ThinkAdvisor, new bill would help Social Security lump sum recipients avoid tax hits. So new legislation, the Fairness in Social Security Act, would prevent Social Security disability insurance recipients from being hit with a stiff tax bill when receiving a retroactive lump sum payment when their benefits start. Disabled beneficiaries must satisfy a waiting period of several months before benefits start, but they receive a lump sum retroactive to the date of being found eligible for benefits. Mary Johnson, Social Security and Medicare policy analyst for the Senior Citizens League, explained. Retirees can also choose to file a claim for up to 6 months in retroactive benefits when they first apply for benefits. In both cases, Johnson told ThinkAdvisor Wednesday in an email, the eligibility date for the lump sum could apply to the prior tax year, but the money might not be received until the next year when apparently it is added into current benefits for tax purposes. This bump in income can trigger large tax liabilities and result in the reduction or elimination of premium assistance under the Affordable Care Act, according to Max Rittman, President and CEO of the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. So then, the Fairness in Social Security Act would remove the inclusion of Social Security disability insurance payments prior to the current tax year when calculating an individual's income, to ensure these individuals are not left owing large sums back to the Internal Revenue Service. So, and then of course we had another example from this guy's district who is introduced in the bill, where this guy unfortunately ended up actually owing right around $27,000 back to the IRS because of the lump sum Social Security disability payment that they had received, even though a lot of the money that they received in the lump sum would have actually been the prior year. So let's hope they can pass this and make it so people aren't getting these surprise tax bills from the IRS. Money they really should know, because they're not actually receiving all the money that year. A lot of it is actually in the prior year. Now, in some other news, of course, we have some more payments going out today to certain Social Security beneficiaries today on August 3rd. So according to AS, direct payments of $1,800 from Social Security on August 3rd, who will receive them. So on the 3rd, which is today, once again, the SSA is going to be sending money to beneficiaries who began receiving their monthly payments before May of 1997, or for those of you who receive both Social Security and SSI benefits, you would have received your SSI check on the 1st and your Social Security check today on the 3rd. Now, as far as the rest of the payments going out this month in August, of course, on Wednesday next week, August 9th, those payments are going to be going to those beneficiaries with a date of birth between the 1st and 10th of any given month. Then the week after that, on a Wednesday also, August 16th, those payments are going to be going to those with birthdays falling between the 11th and 20th of any given month. And then finally, the last payments going out this month in August, going to be August 23rd. Those are going to be going to those with birthdays falling between the 21st and 31st of any given month. So once again, you can see the payment schedule up on the screen there. And then finally, just to wrap up this video, we want to talk briefly about the Fitch credit ratings being downgraded for the United States from AAA down to AA+, and what really all that means. I touched briefly about this on yesterday's video. Of course, we had a lot of people coming out saying, yes, it was the right move, they should have done that. Then we have other people coming out and saying that, it's a terrible move, that they should have, if they were going to do this, they probably should have done it before we made an agreement to raise to suspend the debt ceiling through 2025, and that Fitch just wants to make a name for themselves. And then, of course, we have JP Morgan CEO and Jamie Dimon calling Fitch Ratings U.S. downgrade ridiculous and saying that it doesn't really matter all that much. But of course, if we look at our country and our debt like we would like any company or any individual, having $32 trillion in debt is certainly a pretty huge deal. And there's actually a tweet sent out by an individual by the name of Spike Cohen, which really I think really kind of drives the point home on how ridiculous our national debt is, and it really relates to the amount of interest that we are paying this year in 2023 and perhaps years moving forward. So in his tweet, he says, "What do you think is the federal government's most expensive program? The military? Social Security? Nope. The most expensive single program is paying the interest on the debt that Republicans and Democrats in Washington, D.C. have run up in your name. That doesn't even include paying back the principal. That's just the interest. Thanks to decades of debt spending, which every Congress in our lifetime has passed and every president in our lifetime has signed, it will cost nearly $1 trillion this year just to pay the interest on the debts that they've run up." And you can see the sheet here. If we look at the debts there, I know it's a little bit tiny print, but you can see that just in this month alone, we are paying $122 billion in debt. Now, $122 billion is quite a bit of money. We could spend, whatever really with $122 billion. And over the entire year, we're paying close to $900 billion, close to $1 trillion. Think what we could do as a country with $1 trillion, the amount of, things we could sign into law that could really, help the American people. And let's say over the next 10 to 20 years, if we're going from paying $1 trillion per year in interest to, let's say, like maybe $3 trillion per year in interest. That's a lot of money that we could spend on other programs. We could improve our infrastructure. We could help the American people. But instead, we're just throwing towards our interest payment, not even going to pay down the principal. So this is something that absolutely needs to be solved. Most Americans agree that our national debt problem is something that should be more of a priority for all of our members of Congress and our president. But what it really comes down to is what programs we end up cutting to solve our debt problem, or how much do we raise taxes to perhaps bring more revenues in? Because we need to be bringing more revenues in than what we're spending on different programs. So we really need to make sure that Democrats and Republicans are held accountable in D.C. Both parties are responsible for spending. We definitely need to get it under control. But let me know what your thoughts and comments are below on all this. Would definitely love to read them. But that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.